Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel Anaka Design. If you watched a recent video about using up scraps of fabric, you'll know that I created a number of projects. Oh, which reminds me, before I get into this, I should show you one other thing that I did with fabric. It's been sitting here like an orphan all by itself. I came across this textile, and it was a series of these embroidered motifs, and I just love the colors. I think the combination of the red and the burgundy is what just grabs me, and the sheerness of this fabric. So because the design, this is one whole thing, I didn't have to trim anything off. Because of the vertical orientation, I thought, well, the only way this is going to work without, having to cut it somewhere would be to create a tall, skinny page. So what I did, I had a piece of, now was this file full? Let me just have, yeah, this is a file folder. I don't know if you can see those indentations or those score lines there. But I thought, okay, there's a natural fold built into that file folder. I'd obviously coffee or tea dyed that paper in the past. And I just sewed top and bottom to create these two huge side loading pockets. And then just to help it sort of stay put, I also sewed down the middle of the, down along the fold. And I'm sure I sewed on this side so I had a line to follow. And by using matching thread, obviously it's less obvious if it's not entirely perfect, which it isn't. And on the sides, I basically just turned back the fabric just to create, and glued it just to have a, a somewhat firmer edge on the pocket. So there's also that idea. And so I will add this to where I keep my signature pages that are ready to go. Okay, so back to the thing at hand. So these three little covers, this was vintage bedding, that was vintage bedding, this was a hexagon or an octagon that was quilting shapes. So you can see the, that's why the pattern looks the way it does, because it had been pieced together for a quilt. So I just basically wanted to show you, I don't know how much actual decorating, there will probably zero to or slim to none, that there will be actually any decorating because I haven't taken the time to pre-select some items. But I did want to show you what my process would be for picking signature pages, and probably also determining how many signatures. So you can see that these are, well, maybe these two are the same. Pretty similar. So just to refresh your memory, on this one, it was a book, it was a box, it was packaging from Avery labels. So I thought, okay, there's a built-in window there, why not use it? So I have pre-cut a piece of acetate, and I also got this paper ready that would cover my fabric from the front side and finish this off. Now I was just pondering what I should do here, and I kind of decided, since this, okay, there are two options. Because both sides of this are going to be visible, you would either want a two-sided or a one piece of, probably cardstock or something heavier that has two equally beautiful images, so that you would have something attractive on the outside and something attractive on the inside when you open it up. Now, the other option is to make sure that the first page of this first signature has something beautiful located right there that would be visible through the window. So two options, don't know which I'm going to do. But I thought to keep the options open, I would probably glue, say, starting from here, around, and leave this open so that a person could slide something in and out if that's the the direction I choose to go. Or maybe I'll just keep it clipped together until I can make a final decision and know what's what. Now, this is two-sided scrapbooking paper. Obviously, that is the same as that. So I'm just keeping this tucked in here, knowing that if I want something either more of the same or something contrasting, that would be, obviously a great color match, I have the paper with, with the project and don't have to wonder where in the world I put it. So, and of course, all of these are 3 different heights. Now, I didn't bother measuring them because they're right here. I'm making, excuse me, the signature pages fit into an existing, an already constructed cover. So I bought a thrifted bundle of paper, and it was gigantic, basically stationery. And I sort of sorted through it. Okay, I'm never going to use that. I'll give this to so-and-so. I'm never going to use that. I'll give that to so-and-so. And what the person had done, who had all these papers, clearly copyright infringement, going to the slammer probably, is photocopy those papers. So there were all these photocopies in there as well. I don't know if I have any. Oh yeah, well, let me just show you. Okay, so this would have been the one sheet of paper, and then this is clearly a photocopy. Well, this is a no-no. You can't do that because somebody created that and the rights belong to them. And many of the pages, I don't know, I probably don't have any of those handy, were photoed on a without color, black and white. So, because those designs were off to the side, there were these wide margins. So I basically just tore the margin, the blank part away, and typically I would just fold these things in half and think, okay, there are some cute little signature pages. Now we know that obviously we can use pages that are smaller than the cover. Typically, we never use pages that are bigger than the cover unless we do some creative folding. Now, I also had more of this. So I tore this there, folded these 2 in half, one that way, thinking that if I do end up with 2 signatures, those could be the signature covers. They will match the stripes on the inside there. I also have this that could easily be a little belly band. So again, keeping it all together. So then I started, like I said, I folded these up so these could become signature pages in here if I so chose. This was a longer strip, so I folded it differently. So this would end up being sewn in there. And then this little flappy thing keeps it within the size that is all right without, tearing it off and throwing it away. So there's that. I also, I just did a video on, it's called Should You Start a Junk Journal Group? And basically that was me talking about the benefits of a group of local, local like-minded people who get together on a regular basis to, share and use as resources, ask questions, offer tips to each other, and so on. So some of the things that I picked up or was given, I'm thinking, like, is that not a perfect match with those leaves? So for now, I'm keeping this together. These creamy colored labels could go, you know, pretty well anywhere. And then there were even a few wood pieces. So again, how is this going to ultimately be decorated? I don't know. But if you've got one of, and you think, okay, now I need to walk this over to wherever I keep my wood pieces, sometimes it's just simpler to say, I'm using it now. And then you don't have to think about it again. So I've got some of these things off to the side here just to keep as a reminder that, you know, I do have some options. But the point of this whole video, I think, is showing you basically how I handle paper that I acquire, you know, through whatever means. And I think you need to remember that, and maybe my camera is going to be too close. Let me try to lift it a bit without, sorry about the, oh, now I'm showing you some stuff that probably is just a mess off to the side. Okay, so remember that I'm really, really, really old, and that I have loved books and papers longer than some of you have been alive. So I had a lot of stuff even before I got into the whole notion of thrifting and setting out to find more stuff. So what I do when well, let me start someplace. And I'm sure I've got some in here. So for instance, I had this stationery set forever and a day. And it would have been in a box, and I would have had boxes of stationery stored. And let's face it, the art of writing letters is pretty well toast. So how are these papers ever going to get used up? So I would just go through the whole bunch, fold them all up, and think, okay, potential signature pages. Now, if I coffee or tea dyed paper, I have, is it two? I think two legal sized filing cabinet drawers with pre-folded signature pages that I have dyed, or perhaps they're book pages, or they're you know, paper like this that is. So you look at this and you think, oh, that's a lot of paper, man. This is just a fraction of what I have. Now, in order to save some space on my desk for this video, I combined two bins, because what makes the most sense in my mind is that naturally I would keep signature pages that are closer in size together. And so if it's an 8.5 by 11 that's been folded in half, it's in a filing cabinet drawer. But for these smaller ones, you know, using a bin like this seems to make more sense. And I had them in two places. So I'm thinking, now obviously, and I don't even know if this, I'm sure I have more somewhere that are probably even smaller. In fact, I think I remember just now where. But you can see that some of these bigger pages are probably going to fit perfectly in here. So I couldn't even jam all of these in there. So we'll just set those aside for the time being. Now you can see that there are teeny weeny ones in here as well. So in this case, oh, I know what this is. It's Where's Waldo, and I just tore the pages down and made these tiny little signatures. So in a case like that, I would be using Now, the book was oversized, so it was probably, I don't know, 11 tall by, or maybe it was, the reverse, 11 tall and 8.5 wide. So big pages. So I obviously folded and tore these in such a way that there was no waste. And, they're cute. They're darn cute. So that's tucked in here. I'm obviously not going to show you everything, but I'm just going to try to give you some examples. Now this, why do I have this? I don't know. If these were just a few sheets of paper, scrapbooking paper that kind of went together, and I thought, well, okay, what good is one piece of paper somewhere? Let me keep them all together. So I folded them. Now, obviously, it's, well, marginally too big for that, but I would also be trying to make sure that if I'm selecting some of these, that there is some sort of a reason why. Like this side would be okay, in my opinion. But if it's going to be kind of a real stretch to understand, well, why did she do that? Then I would just not do it. I would wait for another occasion. So here, obviously, I took apart a book that had, well, I don't know what, okay, why did I do this? Maybe it was those headings. And I added a fussy cut, a digital, obviously. Oh, I think that's one of my own. These were herbs or healing medicine stuff. So because there's information, oh, sorry, there's, a wee bit of reading to do there. Here is some Latin and some information about plants and a great big surface to write on. So that's why these are here, because there might be the perfect project for that. This is a little, a bridge scorecard pad. So I could, obviously, it would be sideways, but yet the lines run that way. So I could easily fold one of these in half and make, so let me just see, does this fit in any of these books as is? So this would be very close. So why don't we tear a couple of those out? And you can see that I'm not totally consistent in how I do this, because I didn't pre-fold these scorecards. So let's just put that aside for now. What else have we got here? Sorry, I don't know. I hope this box isn't obstructing your view. Okay, so there might have been... Okay, so this would have been a piece of note paper. Nice decoration at the bottom, nice decoration at the top. Not that easy to use something like this. Mind you, maybe I'm wrong about that. No, I could have, I suppose. It's only 7.5 inches tall. But for whatever reason, I chose to do it this way. So chances are, with one quick tear, I could make that work. And probably in this taller one, I wouldn't have to even do that. So that could work. So let's maybe take a couple of those. Now, in the beginning, I, like you, were probably, well, I was, I'm not saying that you were, but I'm, chances are you might have been as well. Really unsure. Oh my goodness, how do you possibly know what to put in a journal? And I remember watching some videos, some big name people, I mean big name people, who literally have a formula. There will be 2 tea-dyed papers. There will be 1 fancy paper. There will be 2 book pages. And literally every signature was set up that way. And I thought, well, different strokes for different folks. But also, oh, I better not show you that. It's personalized, one of those pads that you get when they hope you donate. That seemed way too structured, way too formulaic for my taste. Now, if that helps you, well, then by all means do it, because then you know that you're not going to have one gigantic signature and then one skinny one, and maybe not much rhyme or reason through your project. But if you like to be a little more spontaneous, then don't feel that you have to stick to a formula. Okay, what is this? So it's a purchase order. I also, another thing I did, and the only reason this is not about me. This is about me telling you what I used to do, and maybe, like a good mother, trying to save you some pain and heartache, or wasted effort, or wasted time. Because some things just are not worth the effort to do them, in my opinion. Now, of course, like any sensible person, you listen to me, you listen to other people, and you decide what makes sense, what resonates with you. So I remember also watching videos in the beginning, again, big name people, where they would literally create a template of what their signature size is. So if that woman was making signature pages for these 3 journals, she would have 3 different size templates, and she would hold those templates up to each page and see, does it fit or doesn't it? And I tried that, but sometimes that isn't very reliable either, because if you've made a journal or 2 or 12, you know very well that when you make a signature, suppose these, well, they're not, and I don't want to take the time to do it, but if these were all nested into each other, maybe I have to do a few to prove the point. It just stands to reason that the ones inside are going to jut out more than the outside one. So I went through so look, there's a difference right there. Now, mind you, maybe I didn't fold them in exactly the same spot, but I think I did. So, assuming that I had a template, I would still need to trim. If I chose all my signature pages based on that template, I would still have to trim some of them because of this whole nesting, pushing out phenomenon. And that's how we refer to it, the nesting, pushing out phenomenon. So does that save any time in the long run? I don't know. Have I created heartache for myself because I thought I was making my signature pages a certain size and then found that I had to go back and either trim or fold in? So for instance, if I wanted to use this paper, assuming that, the height was right. No, let's use this. It's more believable. So say I wanted to use this. Well, you can see that if I left it as is, it's going to stick out. It doesn't matter that it's not the same height, but it's going to stick out. So because the design is at either end, obviously we don't want to trim that off, because what would be the point in using this paper? So then maybe I would be folding on that red line there and creating a really cute pocket. Or maybe I would be folding this kind of drastically and just having a fold out thing. So now what I basically do is I get the height right. So in other words, I don't go over a certain maximum height. And then I worry about the width when the time comes. Now, I know that there are people who like tearing. I know that there are other people who like cutting. They want every single page to line up. There are people who want that staggered effect. They want a rough, more interesting edge. So again, you have to kind of know your own preferences as well. Okay, now what do we have here? This has, okay, obviously this was some sort of stationery too. It says the Grass Fairy. Oh, that's a piece of lint. I thought it was those annoying little black flies that are trying to... So I just folded it that way so that the fold is not cutting the girl in half. Now, would I want signature pages that say thank you? Probably not, but that's easy enough to cover up with some sort of collage. So I have a whole whack of those. What I do sometimes during this folding process, and here's a perfect example. Okay, so again, because of the way stationery paper is formatted, I tore this in half thinking the top and the bottom are equally beautiful. But, and maybe you have a go-to that you tend to use when you're folding pages, I try to fold half of them one way and half of them the other as a reminder that, you know what, shake it up a bit. So that's why those are folded the way they are. Now this, okay, if we like the whole thought of ephemera, this is from a hotel in Red Deer, Alberta. So I have a bunch of those from obviously a time that I stayed there. I also have some black paper, and you've already seen that one. Now, not my choice to have the lines going vertically, but sometimes you just overlook it and you do it. Now, also with stationery, you can see that some I've folded vertically as a reminder that, hey, you may do a tall skinny and you will want, don't fold everything this way and then find that you've made unnecessary creases because you forgot that you could put them, the other way. So what else have I got in here? Probably I've covered the different options already. Okay, what is this? This is probably sort of letterhead type paper, I would call, for lack of a better word. Now this design is such that you could easily have it this way and it would just look absolutely beautiful. That isn't always the case. So let's grab this pumpkin paper and see that, folding this in half this way would be pretty goofy. So, chances are it would go this way or it'd be used in some other way. Fussy cut around that, and, use it in some other way. Let me just see if I can find any other anomalies here to tell you about. What is this? Oh, this is one of those, what are they? It's kind of like a mouse pad. A pad, write on it, tear it off, use the next one. So this obviously works perfectly. Especially if you used it as a centerfold, because then you can see the words make sense. If it was a signature page, you'd think, are planted. So again, you either cover some of that stuff up or you learn to ignore it and not let it bother you, or you find a way to deal with it. What else have I got here? Okay, so then here's that same paper. This time, I don't know why I thought that was so smart. I folded it as a reminder that you don't have to fold everything in half. But yet, I wouldn't want this girl horizontal or that chimney. So who knows what I was thinking there. Maybe I just thought that that would be a great page and, you know, would intend to cover that up. So who knows what the motivation is at some point. Okay, what's this? Oh, those are kind of note cards. Those. Okay, I've done the same with some doilies. I almost never think of using doilies. Now, if I've gone to the trouble of buying them and dyeing them, then hopefully if I put them in my signature box, I will also remember to use them. What a concept. They don't know what that is, but I clearly stuck it in there. Oh, that kind of got creased. This is, and I think Thelma gave this to me, a beautiful note card. So clearly that could be a signature page. We're not going to worry if it's this way or this way. And look at that beautiful envelope. So this could also be obviously sewn into a signature. So again, if you just have a few of something, it's a good place to put it. And because of the way flowers grow, am I going to care that that rose looks that way as opposed to that way? No, I'm not. Okay. What else have I got here? Okay, I've got something that's very much like, I don't know, crepe paper, tissue paper. Not even sure what this is. Now, clearly, I have folded this. So if a person wants some different texture or a splash of color, these are ready to go. And I know that I'm not the only one that pre-folds stuff. I remember hearing Kim talk about that. And I don't know that, I think she said that if she comes across something, she'll do 10 pages. And maybe leave the rest intact. Oh, this is out of a guest book. Now, you can see that I've clearly forgotten that I should be, not forgotten, but got carried away. And I'm no longer trying. Okay, here's the same paper that you saw earlier, folded the other way. I bet you this paper is 25 years old, as are some of these other ones that I've collected, because I just love them. And again, I wasn't writing letters to anybody. Okay, this is a book page. What are some of these tinier ones here? So this, I folded. So there's a pre-made pocket. Again, it serves as a reminder. We know that ledger pages are really wide. So by folding it in some sort of a fashion like that, it reminds me that, see, and it actually, this would actually fit in here. Well, maybe really close anyway. So I'd have to see. Maybe it wouldn't make the cut, but pretty darn close. So that's what I've done. Let's just, okay, this is a slang tease, slang like from a game. There's some paper that I dyed. Now, you notice that I don't have much book page there, so, oh, okay, I did this mallard on a book page, so, or that's a napkin, I mean, I'm trying to say. Another. So again, you have to periodically look through your stuff to even remember what you have. Oh. Now these, what were these? So I guess some scrapbooking paper that I never thought I would use on its own, but clearly it could be. And if orange or yellowy, cream, well, I guess beigey color was the order of the day, then I would use that. This is beautiful paper, and of course, for now, I'm hoarding it. Pansies, and what are these? Roses. This bunch here, I'm not sure if this is parchment paper or something, but obviously I dyed it. So it's here, again, as a reminder. And I find that for me, unless I am reminded of these things, like if I had another place where I had specialty papers, like, say, vellum or, you know, parchment paper or something like that, it complicates life when you have to remember to look someplace else. Now this paper, okay, so same thing here. I folded the same paper 2 different ways. Now these are relatively small, tall skinnies. However, I have another bin where, you know, the full size 8.5 by 11 ones would be. Okay, so what is all this? Oh, these are papers that I avocadoed. This is out of a guest book. Oh, coloring book pages. Whoops. Grungy papers. You know, crinkled and torn and beat up, and this got mixed in from someplace else. Okay, what is this? Your hearts in your hands. Not sure where this came from. Are they all the same? Fishy fun. Doodalicious. No recollection of this whatsoever. Oh, these are like lens cloths. I don't know if you can see, but there are little tiny glasses there. So I think this was maybe the precursor to, you know, the little microfiber cloths that we use now in our glasses so we don't scratch them. Okay, so obviously we're not really making signatures today, are we? Oh, here's, oh no, that was the one with the names on it. Geez, I almost showed you. Now these are digitals. Don't remember whose they blah, blah, blah. Don't remember whose they are, but obviously they were an 8.5 by 11, and this maybe is not a match, but oh yes it is. I clearly tore it in half widthwise and made some signature pages. So these could be worked into there as well. Oh, I wonder why I have this together. Not sure. Maybe I was actually working on some sort of a project. Scrapbooking paper, digitals. This is something that I sewed some ribbon onto. Note paper. Oh, and then these were so beautiful. This was a kid's book page. The paper is heavy, as you can probably hear as I'm oh, that doesn't match that, but obviously, how do you sacrifice part of this? So cut it in half. If the border only goes around 3 sides, so what? So I have a bunch of those to use. Now, because it's kind of, does it fit in here? See, this could probably work in here, because if necessary, I could just tear that down a bit more, but it looks like. So let's just pretend, since we've actually found something to use, why don't I put this cellophane up, or this acetate up here, and stop having to fix it every time it falls out. Okay, so these are the colors we're working with. Let's see if something kind of makes sense. Oh, looks like I glued an image over whatever was there, which was probably text. So that's not great. Maybe none of these are going to be so great, but a neutral one like this could work. And maybe this one that's got some pink. Or is it the same thing? Yeah, this is pink. Yeah, so those two could go in there. So one decision made. And if, again, I don't know, but if I ended up with 2 signatures, I would put one of those in each signature. Not a formula, just common sense. Okay, what have we here? Some small book pages that are clearly quite lovely. So maybe, now that's a bit on the short side, but it doesn't matter. No. So let's put that up there. Oh, that's cute. Now, this is too wide. Don't want to do it because we'd end up having to trim that baby. I'm not sure why I have these little pockets here. I should put those someplace else. We've got pink on this cover, so we can easily work a pink into there. Maybe 2 pinks. What else have we got? You know, I might flip through these book pages and see if there's something that can, see what spring looks like. I would probably look for something that kind of somewhat matches. Does this match that bluey? No, but maybe close enough. So let's call that good enough. Now, I've had this forever. This was a journal with these cute illustrations, and I thought, well, how am I ever going to use this? So I just took the book apart and kind of made these. Again, I don't want them sideways, so these are sort of sitting there ready to be pockets. What's this? This is just something white. I clearly took something apart, some white signatures. Oh, I added a ruler onto there. That could go in there as well. And especially if there's just 1 left or 2 left, then I want to be rid of it. Another envelope. Now these are quite different. I mean, they're attractive and they're old. But I think that's a different, that seems a little too harsh for that. So let me see how long we've been at this. 45 minutes. I would say that I'm going to stop there. So you can see that I really didn't get very much done, but then I was showing examples and talking a lot. If you weren't here, and trust me, I'm very grateful that you are, I would have probably, oh, and I should say that, maybe let me get rid of this box so there's a bit more room on the desk. What I would do, once I've determined that, oh, a particular book needs 2 or 3 signatures or 1 signature, obviously, if it's one signature, then that's a no-brainer. But suppose that in this book, I decide, oh, it's a 2-signature book. Then what I would do is I would hopefully have 2 of each thing. So 2 book pages, I'd start making 2 piles. This mottled pink cardstock, okay, you guys each get 1. Even though they're not the same color, it doesn't matter. I would put that there and that there. And again, I wouldn't necessarily have it set up so that they're identical. If you know what I mean. So I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, because this is cardstock, it's going to be the signature cover. It's going to be the signature cover, and then I'm going to put this beautiful book page, and then I'm going to put this, and then I'm going to put this. You know, like I don't typically do that because quite often I don't have an equal number of the same element, and it doesn't have to be so, again, formulaic. I put that there, I'll put that there. Now, so far I only have 1 of these, so I will put this off to the side and try to figure out, or I would look through and find something kind of equivalent. So can I just quickly reach for something here? That's too much. Yoy. Just when you want to find something in a hurry. Maybe I would pick a solid pink page. I mean, they're not equivalent, but so what? And clearly this one, oh no, it's fine. I was going to say it's going to be too big, but that's all right. It's good. And then these 2. So maybe this one I would fold like so. And maybe this one I would fold with that on the inside. Or I could even do it this way and then have a really narrow page. And I would also probably look through my envelopes and figure out what envelope, it would have to be fairly small in any of these journals, what envelope would work. Okay, is there anything more here that I could use? And then, well, let me just tuck this all in there just for ease of handling. At some point, I would hold them in there and think, okay, am I at the breaking point here? Am I at the point where If I add too much more, I won't have any room to add other elements like pockets and belly bands and stuff like that, because it's going to gape open, which I don't particularly care for. So it almost seems as though I've already reached that point. Now, I didn't, excuse me, I didn't nest these into each other, which, and this is just random, just for the sake of moving on here. Let that be the center fold. I'm going to do it this way because it's going to give a more accurate feel for how thick, how much space this takes than it does if you just randomly throw a bunch of pages in there. Oh, that's cute. Maybe that should be the center fold. So, quick like, just... And what I could do in another video is, you know, obviously pre-select a bunch of pages. And if I also, I just interrupted myself. If I find that all of the interest on a page is on the inside, then I sometimes will just refold. Like if it looks better to do it that way and have this, you know, there's a repetition of the yellow there, so that probably is a little bit nicer. Anyway, what I was saying is that I could do another video. Now see how some of this now is sticking out? In fact, quite a bit is sticking out. So that means that there's either some folding that's going to need to happen or some, and again, if there's nothing, no real feature or decoration or anything on a page, sometimes it's simply just to cut it off. If you're trying to preserve something, like in this case, these seem a bit wide, so I would just tear another 1/4 inch off, and then Murphy's Law of bookmaking will kick in and tell me, oh, it should have been 3/8, not a 1/4 inch. Where did I have this? Did I have this in the middle? I could refold it and have this in the middle. Now, that is probably going to be acceptable, but I will also tell you that quite often I have to do this multiple times before I can make it fit. Now with this one, I'd pull out my paper cutter and I would, well, see, I have a mixture of torn and cut pages, so I don't know. I guess I would decide. You know, it's preference. It's a matter of taste. Do I want to get my tearing ruler and just tear this kind of raggedy so that I have at least one other page in the book that's torn? I think that's the decision I would make in this case, to trim this this pink cardstock down. But as I started saying, probably now for the 3rd time, if you wanted to, if you asked in the video to have me do this like for real, where, you know, that's all that we'd be talking about, and that's what I would do kind of from start to finish, I would pick a multi-signature project and show the process for actually deciding on the order that those pages should be in, as well as what pages to use in the first place. And you'll notice I haven't used any any real just text pages, and I haven't used any music paper. So again, it's a matter of preference, and it's also a matter of staying true to your vision for the particular project. And there are times that, you know, you just, something is beautiful in its own right, but it just doesn't fit well enough to make the final cut. Didn't use a doily. Now, wouldn't a doily be great here? Because it's sort of softly feminine. Now, obviously, I think what I'm going to do, let me just do that right now as it occurs to me. Now, this is obviously not the right order anymore, but I'm going to put a doily on there. I'm going to remove this piece of cardstock as well, put it back in my signature box. And if I feel that, oh, this is suddenly a little bit on the skinny side, what I could do is I have a lot of just ordinary copy paper that is in colors. So I could pick either a beigey color. I don't think I have the right green, but I could pick a pink or I could pick a beige, and you know, do it that way so that it's, so I still have the same number of pages, but I've saved a bit of the thickness of the signature, the weight of the signature, by choosing to substitute the type of paper. And you know, this cover also needs to be trained a bit. So after I sew the signatures in, I would more than likely, and see, this doesn't belong here, that's a decorative piece. So more than likely I would clip this or put some binding around it to just help train it to accommodate the new, like the contents. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, you know, what you see is probably what it would end up being, although I would fool around with the order of the pages. So, well, I guess I probably have talked too much already, but I will tell you that I just open up one little drawer here. Not that one. Not that one. Oh, you know what? When I was on my micro mini journal making kick, I used up my tiniest signature pages. Oh my goodness, you guys have no idea what I'm looking at here. Covers and signature pages, pre-selected, just not sewn in. Oh my goodness gracious me. Okay, that's not entirely true what I just said. I found these. These are obviously pretty well, oh, let's see what they are. When I was recovering from something, oh, this is obviously upside down. When I was having to take it easy, what the heck is going on here? That's right side up. This should be turned the other way. I made a million little tiny journals. Like, I mean, you know, some of them are an inch tall. Because that was about all the brain power I had. So I don't have too many really small signatures here. I'll look in this last drawer and then I will. I might have moved them somewhere else. That is another possibility. Oh, just a minute. Showing you my deepest, darkest. Okay. Look at these tiny little pages of handmade mulberry paper. Or, well, no, that's not mulberry paper. These torn little things. These tiny little, whatever these were. Phone message papers. A tiny little, oh my goodness, look at, I glued something on there. Isn't that sweet? Sometimes I use these gigantic clips to help sharpen the fold. So these are like, this is 1 inch square, if you're trying to get a feel for the size. So even though I made mega numbers, oh, this is mulberry paper. So this, have these been folded? Yes, they have. Hey, look at this maroon coat, too dark. Oh, here are some tiny envelopes. I could put a little envelope. Oh, that's a coin envelope. How about, well, why am I hoarding this? Maybe I should use one of those. What is this? Look at these covers that are just raring to go. Some of this has something on it. Here are more tiny ones. I don't know what this is from. Anyway, there is no end to this. Let me just say that. Okay, what is this? Oh, phone messages. Message slips folded the long way. And died. Okay, now I'm really quitting. Nope, not quite. So these, what did this come from? Looks like it came from a book of some sort. Nice design, top and bottom. Carlton Books. So I obviously kept this because this could be a signature page. So maybe I should see, does this fit in here? Well, a bit on the small side. Anyway, you can see that this is a process, a whole process all on its own. But I really do think that here's a cute little envelope I could use. Probably too wide. Maybe better in this one. Or this book is narrower. That book is narrower. Maybe in this one it'll fit. So I'm going to keep this here as an option. Oh, and I love this. This was actually a little square, like a stack of note papers with these leaves embedded in them. Let's use a couple of those and a couple of those in here. So I definitely, well, of course, mind you, I was going to say I definitely believe in what I'm saying. But I also, am, what the heck is this? I'm also truthful enough to tell you, and repeatedly do tell you, when something is a bad idea or when I have boo-booed. And so with that disclaimer, I definitely think it's a good idea to pre-fold, pre-make signature pages. unless you have some other system for not losing track of what you actually have and could make use of. So I should add the Where's Waldo to this box because that's kind of more a similar size. Anyway, okay, I'm out of here. So go fold some stuff, guys. Go fold some stuff and be ready for your next project. And again, if you want me to do a more in-depth thing showing, I should look through here, showing what would be the process from start to finish of arranging, not only selecting the pages, but arranging the pages, then by all means mention that in the comments. And you know, another thing I could do is look at my 6x6s or other scrapbook paper scraps. So these have a different aesthetic to them, so I'm not going to try to force them to work here. We don't need coercion in the bookmaking business. Yes, so for the umpteenth time, goodbye. Fare thee well. See you in the next one. Bye, guys.